Welcome to this segment of Community Talk. I'm Derek Silas, and my guest today is Dana Bickford, and she's going to be talking about parenting again. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
First of all, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a Oklahoma native. I was born and raised in Stillwater, graduated from Oklahoma State. Then I raised my kids as a single parent in Tulsa. I was there 19 years. And then why I'm here is I got my grandson when he was 12 months old, and I moved to Florida for 8 years. And then my son, Teague Bickford, lives here in Enid, and he is the twin to my daughter, the mother of my grandson, which, by the way, today is their birthday. And so he'd been coaxing me back to Oklahoma, and so he's here with his two little boys, and we're here. And so that's kind of where I'm from. I am a life coach or a life success coach. So I help people to basically get unstuck, if you would, for a better word, with any area of their life. I call our life cycle different buckets that we have. And so anybody that's just kind of not where they want to be, not reaching their fullest potential, I work with them to discover what their purpose in life is, how to have a vision for that, what they're passionate about, and then to forge forward in whatever it is that they really, really, really are here for.
Okay. So now tell us your story about this Parenting Again support group. How did you come up with this, and what will be your role in this?
Well, Derek, the way I came up with it was when I moved to Florida, it was just Jaden and I, and he was 18 months old, and I was 52 at the time. And I didn't know anybody, and I found myself in a place I hadn't even thought of, that I didn't belong. I was too old to be with parents that are normally having 18-month-olds, and people my age didn't want to hang out with somebody that had an 18-month-old, right? And so it was a really lonely feeling, and I didn't know anybody else that had a grandchild that they were raising. And so I sought out some support groups when I was there in Florida, and I went to a couple, but they just didn't quite fit with me. They didn't quite fit. And so I just kind of went on my way and kept doing what I was doing, and we lived right on the beach, so the beach was our life. And then about maybe 4 years ago, I just felt in my spirit that maybe I could start one. So the church I was going to at the time, I offered that idea, and they said okay, but it was kind of like, well, okay, but you do it. And I said, well, I don't know that I want to lead it. I can birth it, but I don't know that I want to lead it, right? And so it just never happened. And I think it's because I really wasn't ready. I knew there was a need for it because the longer I had Jaden, and he will be 10 in October, so 9 years we've been together. And the longer I've had him, the greater I've realized there's about 25% of the grandparents raising grandchildren. And so when I moved here, and I attended a church and just got involved there, and I started thinking, how can I serve? Before I moved here, my prayer was, it's kind of funny, two things. Lord, lead me to a place where I can serve and worship, and find me a good hairdresser, okay? And so he did that in the first week. And so when I went to that church, I just happened to mention that. They immediately asked me, what do you do? And what are you passionate about? And so when I shared, I'd really love to start a support group for grandparents raising grandchildren, and they were all over it. And so from there, and I think I was ready too, and I was really excited about it, in a spot where I can do this, I can lead this. And then everybody that I've mentioned it to was like, are you kidding? I mean, I'd be walking down the street, and Teague knows a lot of people, so he would say, hey Mom, that's so-and-so, or that's so-and-so, and you might want to connect with them. And when I would tell them my idea, oh yeah, and whoever was with them would go, oh yeah, oh, there's a lot of people. And then it's not just us as grandparents raising them, there are a lot of other relative caregivers too. And so, we don't have, well, like I said, socially, I didn't feel socially accepted, and I didn't have the emotional support that I needed. And there were a lot of resources that just kind of by struggling through that I realized were there for me. And not just financial. I was blessed that I wasn't in a place to have financial need. At the same time, there are some available to you simply because you're a grandparent raising a grandchild. And, and I had to drop my pride for some things and say, look, I've worked all my life. I've paid my taxes, and these are things that are available for my grandchild, not for me. And so that's kind of what got it all started.
Okay. So tell us the goal and aim of this support group. What services will it provide?
Well, I have a huge vision for it, but right now, initially, as I'm promoting it, is a place for people to come to have social acceptance and to get emotional support and the resources that they don't even know are available, or some that they think might be and they don't know how to get them, or they think they can't afford them. And so just to offer that, and basically so we can have a community, or I think the new buzzword is a tribe. You know, we're like a tribe of people together, and here's an example. Clothes. Here you are finding yourself midlife, ready to move on with your life. My kids were grown. They were out of the nest, and I was going, okay, cool, I'm ready to live my life, and boom, I've got an infant.
Right.
Now, people would say, Dana, is that what you want? Well, no. But is that what you want? Yeah, that's what you want, right? So that support for them to get used to, I do have this, and yes, it's what I want, but it wasn't really what I wanted. And so to just help people to deal with all that, and your relationship changes with your own children. Yeah. And so to help them work through, what does that look like? If you have other grandchildren, what does that look like? Changing that, not changing, but having that relationship. Raising Jaden, he's my grandson, and he happened to have been my first. I have 5 others since then, but he's my child. He and his mom and little sister and I have a great relationship, and we've come a long way from where we started. And he's always known that that's his mama, and that's his mama. Yet in his heart, I'm his mama, because that's where his support is. That's where he's secure. And so to even help people go through, what does that feel like? How do I explain to them that, well, I'm your grandmother? One time Jaden said to me, something's wrong with this picture. Kids are supposed to live with their mamas, and why do I live with you? And now he's at an age aware of, so, yeah, what happens to you what happens to me if something happens to you? And so just those kind of things, to have a place for people to come and just vent and realize that they're not alone. They're absolutely not alone. So right now, Derek, that's the vision I have, is just for them to have a place to belong and support. And I started to talk a while ago about clothes. So now you have extra expenses. Well, I've seen a lot of people, they've had to go through their retirement because now they're raising a child. Their schedules change. They're having to go to dental appointments. They're going to PTA meetings. They're, going to other doctor appointments. All these things that now their time is not their own. And so helping them with that, and I envision that we can all then begin to maybe support each other. Have someone, hey, will you help me out while I do this? You're buying clothes again now, and they outgrow their clothes real fast. And I'm speaking of grandparents specifically right now that have younger children. I know a lot of them have older children, 2 grandchildren. So to maybe have a clothes exchange so that we can help each other that way. As your kids run out, outgrow their clothes, bring them in, we can have a clothes exchange. If someone's sick, and in my case, I'm single raising them. And so to need someone to help out, if I'm sick or if they're sick. So it's just to support emotionally and socially, and to have events for us and events for those kids so that they belong. There are other kids out there that are being raised by their grandparents.
Right. So tell me about when is this support group going to begin and where?
Okay, we will begin 2 weeks from this past Wednesday. So we're going to start Wednesday, September 13th, and we're going to hold our meetings at Emmanuel, Enid, starting at 6 and till 7:30, 6 to 7:30. I chose Wednesdays. Some people say, why Wednesdays? Well, another reason I chose Wednesdays is at that church is they have activities for children from 3 years old to 5th grade, through 5th grade. And they have a great program and activities for kids at that age. One thing that stops us from going to some things is because we don't have a place for our kids.
Right.
So it was real important for me to find something where there would be a place for kids. Otherwise, that would stop them from coming. Also, there is a meal beforehand at 5 o'clock that is a very minimal cost, $5 for adults, $350 for children through 5th grade. And that's another thing that I considered, because we start at 6. If they're working, parents, they get off at 5. No, I got to feed my kids. What do I do? And so to find a place that if they wanted that option, they could. And their reservations, they'll need to call the church by noon on Tuesday to be, to have the meal on Wednesday. But it's a, at a minimal cost for them, and they could leave work, come straight to the church and have a meal, and then come to the support group.
Very good. So if others out there want to get in contact with you and join this group or even help, how can they do that?
They can reach out to me at my number, and my number is area code 918-630-2214. And then we have set up an email address that's parentingagain2017. So that's parentingagain2017@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
today.
It means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on Community Talk, this segment, Parenting Again. The information should be on the screen, and you can join if you would like to.
Hi, I'm Brenda Bingham, Blue Star Mother President, Chapter 11, Enid, Oklahoma. We are a 501c3. We send care packages to our troops, and we take donations, and we're at the Oakwood Mall between the Cookie Company and Dillard's. Stop by, say hi, or drop off a donation. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you, and come watch us on Community Talk.